morning, everyone. Welcome to June. Welcome to June. Welcome to the June 3rd Board of Public Works and Safety. We are recording the meetings live on the City of Madison YouTube channel, and for those who aren't here, they can view it at their leisure. Shirley, may we have a roll call, please? I'd like to introduce Shirley Rainierson, our Clerk Treasurer elect. Well, these are just so you a heads up. We'll give you that mic in front of you. Yep, and then push that button. It'll be a red light will come on, and now you're live.
I'm live now.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Sorry. Okay, so Shirley Rainierson. Hi, everyone. So first off, I'm going to call roll call and be sure that we have everyone here. Carl Eaglin.
Yes.
Mayor Courtney.
Present.
And Bob Carlo.
Dave.
Here.
Here.
See, I got it wrong already. Sorry. And I'll ask you guys to be gracious with me because I am a little slow with names, and I am going to try to take the votes as quickly as I can.
Awesome. It'll be easy because there's only 3 of us.
Yes, it is easier.
rather than a council
Then
meeting or a
tomorrow.
plan commission meeting where there's 7 or 9 or 10 of us all chiming in at the same time.
Yes.
Thank you, Clerk Treasurer elect, and Board, you've had an opportunity to review the minutes from May the 20th, and so will entertain a motion for approval of the minutes from May the 20th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as printed.
I'll second Carl's motion.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Moving on, we'll move to claims.
Mayor had an opportunity to review the claims. As such, we have 20 pages of claims totaling $1,030,317.83. And I'll make a motion that the claims be approved as submitted.
I'll second David's motion.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks. No adjustments. Let's move to unfinished business. I do have a question for Nicole. We have 2 items in unfinished business. Should they, Nicole, if you want to give a comment on one of those.
Yes, we'd like them to stay on the table. We'll have an update on the 755 West 3rd Street at your next meeting. And then I haven't heard yet from 524 Jefferson, but I know that they're starting to work on enclosing that unsafe structure.
Okay, perfect. We'll leave those on the table then. Joe, no actions necessary to leave them on the table. We'll move into new business. Brian, water project, SRF 63, and a lead line survey.
And yeah, I got several things and the task order too, but we'll start with the SRF disbursement request number 63 from Commonwealth Engineers. They have 2 invoices dated April 30th, 2024. The total of the 2 invoices is $219.99. The amount of the disbursement from the SRF for number 63 will be $220. That's all I have for the SRF stuff that we'll need to approve.
I'll make a motion that we approve the SRF request number 63 for $220.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? Comments or questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
All right, and the next item I have is a task order, Commonwealth Task Order number 2024-02. It's to perform a level 1 water audit validation for the city of Madison. Madison's required to perform a water loss audit for 2023. The audit must be validated by a third party. That's where Commonwealth comes in. This is a contract with Commonwealth to perform that audit. The water loss audits are due prior to August 1st, 2024. I'm in the process of doing the audit now, and then they will help validate it. And their cost to validate it is $3,000. The summary of the scopes and services is on that last page of the documents I sent you.
We do this every year? Is it every year?
Every other year.
Every other year.
Every
Okay.
other year. Yep, every other
Brian,
year.
just since you're on camera and you're speaking live to the thousands of people who are probably watching today, what is a water loss, and how does water loss occur?
water loss occurs, you pump X number of gallons out of the wells, and then you provide water to our towers and tanks, and they provide it to all the citizens and the businesses and everything. But throughout that, you have leaks in your line, you have just water loss, you have theft. There's a number of ways you can lose water. We flush hydrants. We have some unmetered.
Fires.
That's why I was going to next. You have unmetered usage through the fire departments, and that they have unmetered at their house and at their firehouse. And then we also have a few, like the shelter house. We don't charge the shelter house to take care of the animals. We don't charge them for water either. So we try to monitor that the best as we can, but you can't always do that. And what this does is this audits your system to see how much you're pumping out of the wells and how much you're billing for. And you subtract out some for the flushing of the hydrants in the fire department, and then you see, if you're losing 20, 30 million gallons, and which is probably about what we lose. I'm not finished with it yet, so I don't know. Since we provide water to Canaan, DuPont, and Rikers Ridge, you subtract out that usage that you bill to them, and then go from there.
So out of our vast system and the 20-some-odd thousand people who we provide water to, and the 900 million gallons roughly a year, there's going to be some water loss out of those
Yes.
hundred-some-odd miles of lines.
Yes, and usually it's about 20%.
Okay.
If you're less than 20%, you're doing really well. But, and I like I said, I don't know our percentage this year, and ours should get, the accuracy is a little less on ours because we're doing a water project to improve. We didn't meter a lot of the well stuff. We measured it with time and approximate gallons per minute. So you get garbage in, you get garbage out, but we're going to be metering that. So our water audits in the future should be more accurate and more informative than they currently are, if that makes any sense.
And the water loss audit, does it go to the DNR Division of Water?
It goes to
or is it-
IFA, Indiana
IFA,
Finance
okay.
Authority. Yes, and you have to do a water audit to qualify for IFA funds, which is the SRF loan we
SRF,
just
yes.
approved. If you do not do the audits, then you do not qualify for the funds,
Gotcha.
which is why we do the audit, because they have good rates on their funding.
On the entrance to the, what used to be the old country club, of course, you got the pumping station there.
That's well 7, yeah, that's JPG well number 7.
And there's a building right beside it, and it's full of orange markers today. Do you know what kind of activity is going on there? Look like there's maybe mapping out pipelines or something.
Well, they're finished with our JPG well. Is it our well, or is it the Madison State Hospital has a well
I
there
think
too?
it's the Madison State Hospital.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. They have their own well and their own tower, and they have their own, and they could be doing improvements, but I don't know what they would be,
Okay. I just
because
followed
they're
it.
not associated with
So
us.
it's nothing the city's doing.
No, we just have a well. We both happen to have a well in proximity to one another.
Thank you.
Our work's mostly done at that place, not at the west end, but at JPG, we're mostly finished there.
I know our wells go down about 3 floors.
Yes.
Inside that little pumping
Yes,
station there.
and like I said, that now that we have updated them, we actually have meters to know exactly how much we're pumping instead of getting an estimate.
So today's request is to approve the task order in the
Correct.
amount of $3,000 for
Right.
Commonwealth to essentially review the audit that you're performing.
Correct.
And submit it
And
to
once it's approved, then you'll sign it, and then either Shirley or Katie signs it. I don't know. I put both their names there just in case.
Brian, before I make a motion to approve this, can I request
You can
a
request anything.
summary when this report is done? I mean, what the
Sure,
information
you want the audit.
the audit?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's an Excel. I can give it to you in Excel.
Okay.
Because if you're familiar with Excel, there's like a whole bunch of tabs, and they ask questions, and the first page would be beneficial probably to you a little, but you need to read all the notes, and that's really what they're auditing, is what we put and how we came up with our numbers. There's no easy thing to give you, because when I submit the audit to them, it's a whole bunch of PDF documents along with the Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah.
It's billing information from the office and well information. I can give you all
It's
that.
nerdy
Dave.
information.
If you get me an email address, I think I'll send it to your city email address. It'll be plenty of data to rehash.
Nerdy information for,
Dave,
Well,
Maybe a nerdy
it gets
person.
confusing after
Carla
a
loves
while.
all that information.
Once you
so-
start going through it, it gets a little confusing, so
yeah,
that's why they have to audit it, but,
interesting reading to me, so, yeah.
okay.
With that, I'll make a motion, we approve the contract, just with Commonwealth,
Well,
Yes,
yeah, for $3,000 for the, water audit validation.
I'll second David's motion.
any discussion or comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Third thing, Brian? Red
okay,
line service.
the third item is the lead service line inventory, and I'm bringing this up because, there's gonna be a postcard going out, to everyone, and I'm gonna give them a brief overview of best I can of that. The environmental and public health concerns have brought the issue of lead contamination to the forefront of the water industry. These concerns have driven the mandate for all public water systems to complete a lead service line inventory. Accurate location and material identification of lead service lines are crucial to eliminate the possibility of lead exposure in drinking water. To assist Madison Water, WTH, who's created this postcard for us, and the questionnaire that I've included in your all's packets. I don't know if any of you went to the link in there or scanned it with your phone, but it brings up a brief questionnaire, takes about 5 minutes to fill out, and once you submit it on there, it populates the data in our system through WTH. But the ideal thing is when you get your postcard is to, like I said, take your phone, scan the barcode. Or if you don't want to do that, you
Really
can go to your
simple, just hit it.
computer and put in there's a link on there that you can type in, and it'll take you to a questionnaire. And basically what it's gonna do, it's a questionnaire which I put in your all's packets. What's in that questionnaire, and it's, your name, your address, whether you're an owner or renter, when your house was built. But the house, when your house was built is very crucial, because if your house was built in 87 or after, then there can't be any lead in your house because of state laws at the time. So if your question there is 87 after, then you're pretty much done with the survey. However, if you're before then it would be greatly beneficial to the city if you take a look at your lines coming into your house, and if you notice on that second page, there's a picture of a plastic, lead, copper, and galvanized. Most people around here have the plastic, some of them have copper. As far as I know, I don't know anybody that has a lead service line, but I haven't seen everybody's, especially
And
downtown.
the service line is from the meter to the house.
Right,
It's-
not our
our-
responsibility, but the state's making us verify this and ultimately try to determine if anybody is at risk, even though it's not our line per se. And the galvanized, I've never seen anybody with galvanized, or not very many. But if you've got plastic or copper, you're pretty much done. We put that information in. And then once all this information is gathered from the populace, then we'll update the GIS maps, and we're obviously going to have a few that we don't know, and we're either going to have to physically go inspect their place, and if you can't determine from then, we're going to have to excavate and take a look at their lines at our cost. Now, IFA is once again giving money for this, but that's a further phase down the road once we get to that, if we have to end up excavating some. I don't foresee it as big a problem here. From my past supervisors and my current one, talking to them, we've found a few lead goosenecks, but we've rarely ever found a lead line. Why that is, I don't know. We used a lot of ductile iron and another type of iron. It's just escaping me right now what kind it is, and the survey, like I said, it's like 6, 7 questions. How do you determine the material of your water service line? Visual inspection is what most people is going to see. They're going to look at it. Let's see. I think that's it. That's more or less, I just wanted to give you guys an update and let the public know that there's going to be a postcard going out to everybody that's a customer. Obviously, if you live and not a customer, you won't be getting the postcard.
And I believe Hannah is going to do a social media
Yep.
description, an announcement that this is coming. They'll get it
Right.
They'll
and
get
she-
a postcard about it.
You can also go, yeah, once Hannah gets that set up, you can go online to our website and you can pick the link, and then you don't have to put it in, you just pick the link and it takes you to the survey. Like I said, it's a quick survey. Once you put it in, you're
It's
done.
literally just 2 or 3 questions, so
Yeah,
it should be.
it's not a complex thing. It's just gonna help us in data collection, because if we physically have to go to all these places, it's gonna take a lot of time and manpower.
So they'll be able to do this survey on their phone, on their computer, or come in and.
Yes,
do it.
yeah, if they can't do any of the others, they can call or come in, and I'm gonna set them all up a link, and basically what they're gonna do, if you call in, they're gonna open the same survey you would open up and fill it out for you and submit it. Because if you don't do it that way, the data doesn't get populated to the software that we needed to get populated to. But that's really more for knowledge. I don't think there's anything to approve on this. Although I do have one or other, I mean, unless you guys have questions about the lead service line stuff, I can have one other item.
Okay.
But it's just more information. I just got a call from Rebecca that we're going to be doing some work up on State Street, just west of the school, and we're gonna have to close the road from Blackmore to Michigan, only local to open traffic for like 3 days. But I told her we're gonna schedule it for June 18th, so I'm gonna bring a road closure at our next meeting for the following day, just to let you guys know.
Well,
so-
didn't we
so
do
you're not
work
caught
in
off
that
guard.
area recently?
Yes, we excavated and found the problem. I didn't want to work on it while school
Okay.
was in session.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and now that school's out, the traffic is much less in that area, so, and it'll generally, they work from like 8 to 5, and like I said, you'll still be able to get local, but you won't be able to go through. And from Blackmore to Michigan, it's not gonna be too bad, really.
Right.
And hopefully they can get it done in a couple, 3 days, and that's all gonna be weather permitting, obviously. If it's pouring down rain, we're gonna have to reschedule.
Okay, June 18th, so we'll look for that.
And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Moving on to resolutions, I'll turn it over to Joe.
First one is resolution number 2024-26B, a resolution of the Board of Public Works and Safety of the City of Madison, Indiana regarding street closings for the 2024 Madison River Fest Barbecue and Blues Festival. Whereas there has been a request filed by Aaron Kendall on behalf of the Madison River Fest Barbecue and Blues Committee for street and parking closings in connection with the Madison River Fest Barbecue and Blues Festival to be held Friday, August 16th, 2024 through Saturday, August 17th, 2024. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Public Works and Safety of the City of Madison, Indiana, that the following streets, parking spaces, grassy lots, and parks shall be closed from Monday, August 12th, 2024 at 6 a.m. through Monday, August 19th, 2024 at 12 p.m. Vaughn Drive from the east side of Mill Street to the west side of Jefferson Street, Vine, Elm, Broadway, Poplar, Central and West Streets, all south from First Street to Vaughn Drive. The parking spaces located on the north and south side of First Streets between West and Central Avenue. The grassy lot owned by the City of Madison located directly north of Chillbilly Treats Ice Cream Restaurant and south of the alley running between West and Mulberry Streets, Fireman's Park, and the parking lot located on the northeast corner of Jefferson Street and Vaughn Drive. Be it further resolved by the Board of Public Works and Safety of the City of Madison, Indiana, that said streets, parking spaces, grassy lots, and parking lots and park as closed shall be under supervision and control of the Madison River Fest Barbecue and Blues Committee.
All right, thank you, Joe. Well, we have two distinguished guests here today to talk about blues and barbecue, and last year you invited me to be in the barbecue judging contest, and I didn't want any barbecue after that, so I'm gonna have to learn to be a judge much better this year,
Smaller
Aaron.
bites.
Small bites. Do not go to a judging contest hungry.
No, no.
Yes.
And never be
Yes.
afraid of the kid competition. A lot of people are afraid of that one, and they are amazing cooks.
Well, good morning. Tell us a little bit about this year's event, and particularly if there's any changes to what you're proposing on the footprint, or specifically the dates in which we're closing the streets.
Sure. So this is our 22nd event this year. We are still rolling along. Very excited to be having that. Primarily with our street closures, there's nothing that's really extraordinarily different besides the fact of us having more use of poplar, which is not a closure that we've always had that closure. for emergency exit issue or reasons, but we're now going to be primarily using Central for emergency exits and then bringing our bands in through Poplar because of the way the entry is to the parking lot at the bottom, just to make that work for us a little bit better. But otherwise, it's pretty much business as normal. Everything's rolling out. Water lines are going in the same places. Electric, I think's changed just a little bit, but we're working on it.
Yeah, our changes really are a result of the changes that have been made to the parking lot there at Bicentennial. In the past, we were able to bring bands down Central and into the side of the parking lot down at Bicentennial, and thereby keep the traffic out of any of the pedestrian flow. Well, with the new setup on the parking lot, we can't come in from the side anymore. You have to come in from the front on that parking lot. As a result, we're gonna move the bands down to Poplar and bring them in Poplar. Now, yes, there is a gate for pedestrians at Vaughn and Poplar, but we will, as soon as they come through the gate, route pedestrians to the south side of the street so that the north side is available for those bands to come in and essentially do a U-turn into the parking lot. And that'll be segmented off from the pedestrians by some fencing. And that's basically the change we've got to make in the traffic flow. Also, in terms of our fencing for the event, fencing remains exactly the same as last year, except that we will have to run a leg of fence down the new sidewalk from Bicentennial to the gate at Poplar in order to keep people from coming from the park, the new park, into the footprint without bringing them through an official gate to get there. So those are really the only two changes we're making. Last year, we did use the southern portion of the parking lot at the Ruler store for handicap. We found that we didn't need that area, so that has been removed from the request this year. Otherwise, the balance of the request remains the same.
The parking lot at Jefferson and, okay, Vaughn Drive, okay.
Yeah, the gravel lot
The
there.
gravel lot, okay, so you're not using the one up at Second Street for anything? Okay.
No, no.
Jim, thank you for that. Aaron, a couple questions. On the footprint and the fencing, so the new Ohio River Legacy Park, your fencing is gonna be south of that new, we call that the Legacy Walk, so that the park is open to the public,
The park will
correct?
be open to the public, and for that matter, the sidewalk will be
Yes.
open to the public, except for a couple of feet of the south edge of it where the
Right.
fencing runs.
Okay. So that's good. I wanted to ask about that. And then my other two questions was, it seemed like the street closure was early. I don't know if it's earlier than last year, but it seems early because it
Well,
says on Monday and the
Yeah,
event's on Friday.
Yeah, the request says Monday, and that request for Monday is strictly a soft closure if we have people working in the street. If
Okay.
we do not need to have people working in the street, and frankly, I don't anticipate that, then there won't be any closing on Monday. Tuesday is when tents come in. So from Tuesday on, there will absolutely be people working in the street, setting up tents, putting in lighting, so on and so forth. Once we have people working in the street, then it becomes a matter of safety that we have to close Vaughn Drive. Now, again, it's a soft closing so long as we don't have equipment in the way to allow for traffic to come through when we don't need that real estate.
Okay.
But if I've got people working in the street, then it's a safety matter, and we have to soft close that. Again, evenings through the course of the week, we'll keep that open as much as we can.
Okay.
Jim, when does Vaughn Drive become permanently closed?
I
Would
do
that be
not
Thursday,
see.
Friday?
I would say that Vaughn Drive from West Street to Central, from West Street to Poplar, I would say that stretch will become, for probably on Wednesday, because at that point, we've not only got people working in the street through the day, but also equipment in the street at night. Now, having said that, it's still available for emergency services. It'll be available for emergency services throughout the entire event. We'll be ensure that we keep a 16 to 18-foot alley open through the middle of the street throughout the entire event for emergency services. But in terms of vehicular traffic through there, basically Wednesday is when it will become closed. Now, it'll still be open for pedestrian traffic until midday on Friday.
Yeah.
How about the entrance to Chill Billy's? Is that gonna be open?
Chill Billy's entrance will remain open. Now, it will not excuse me, it will be open off of Mulberry.
Right, so there'll be
The
just
Mulberry
pedestrian
entrance
traffic
will not
on
be impeded.
Bond Drive, we still have just
Right.
pedestrian traffic.
Right.
What about the resident parking for Central Avenue?
Central Avenue, we will not be using, so Central Avenue, for our purposes, we'll put a sign at the top that says resident use only,
Okay,
and that's their street.
A simple alteration to the letter that we normally send them saying that we're going to give you parking passes. They won't have parking passes this year. They'll have to be in charge of their own parking. But we also are gonna direct them to make sure that they keep the roadway open because we will still need that for an emergency exit.
So they're gonna have to back out.
Yeah, which is what they do today essentially.
Okay.
Now, the other thing that will happen is the gate on Central, where the new sidewalk comes in, the legacy walk where it comes in, at that point, Central Street will be closed, but it'll essentially be dummy locked in case we have to open it quickly for an emergency vehicle.
okay. And golf carts, what are the restrictions or additions for golf cart parking?
Golf carts within the footprint, excluding staff golf carts. You know, golf carts that we're using for the actual festival operations obviously will be allowed. But aside from that, regular golf carts will not be permitted within the music venue. Now, within the professional barbecue section, those teams are allowed to bring a golf cart in.
Yeah, but we only allow one golf cart per team and they have to provide us with their names, their insurance, and then they get a special pass.
Okay.
On the amateur side, on the backyard side, they are actually going to be allowed to have golf carts during setup only, but then going to be removed from the footprint.
Okay,
And you don't allow golf carts to drive in through Bicentennial Park, the grassy areas, or
Not,
anything of that sort.
again, with the exception of staff golf carts that are being utilized for operation purposes.
And those are very, very limited
those
just for
are-
safety.
those will
How
be
you have people
restricted.
set up there in the lawn chairs and.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Once the music begins, golf carts will not be allowed up into the grassy area. Again, unless they're hauling something that needs to get up there, and that's the only way to get it there.
And that would still be staff only, though.
And it'll be a staff golf cart.
Okay.
this, I'm looking at the footprint, and you're also closing Vine, Elm, Broadway, Poplar, Central, and West Streets? Is that true?
Just
I
the
mean,
First Street.
well,
That's-
it says from First Street south to Von Drive.
Right.
So, but that seems pretty far west of where all your activity's going on, because I was gonna ask about, Crystal Beach, Lighthouse. I mean, it seems like you're commandeering pretty far west away from the footprint, and I'm just curious why.
Well, that's the professional barbecue area.
Oh,
And it's the same
okay.
as it's been for the last
Gotcha.
20 years.
Oh, that's right, that's where the pros
That's
are
where
at
the
down there.
professional barbecues
But
are.
we've spoke with Scott about Crystal Beach access and how that's gonna work too, so.
Oh, so you have a plan
So
of bar
the,
access to Crystal.
And then how does the Lighthouse access work? They just park somewhere else and walk down there? Is that,
In essence,
yeah, cause that's right, the professionals are all set up there on Broadway but, okay. And how will access to the pool work?
That was
'Cause
where we were gonna have a sidewalk. The sidewalk's gonna be open to get to Crystal Beach. It's gonna be fenced off.
and there is a drive side of Crystal Beach, for access to the pump house. And I guess that's the pump house, the exterior building there. And, that will be open to, for maintenance purposes, city or pool, maintenance access.
And on the professional side, the barbecue side, wristband access is not required. You don't need wristbands until you get into the music part of it, so that's not an issue.
Okay. Yeah, I was just thinking about the parking.
Yeah, it's just vehicular activity and parking activity.
Will we have enough professional contestants that they'll take up all the way west over to, I guess the furthest west will be Vine? As well as the north-south streets?
Yeah, they have a full complement of contestants at this point.
Okay. Okay.
Jim, are you going to have a designated area for golf cart parking
That will be
for
permitted.
customers, visitors?
Right. So golf cart parking will be permitted in the parking lot at Jefferson Street, and we will have a shuttle going back and forth. That parking lot really is primarily for handicap purposes, but golf cart parking will be permitted in that lot as well.
There'll be
As well
signage?
as the grassy lot behind Shellbillies.
While available.
And again, on an as-available basis at that point.
All right. You made me hungry talking about all this barbecue. Is it lunchtime yet?
Getting close.
It is, no wonder. Board, any questions? Thank you for answering all those. Any comments or questions while we're here?
I make a motion, we approve resolution 2024-26B.
I'll second Carl's motion.
Any discussion, comments, or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Very much.
Thank you.
Guys have a great day.
Congratulations on number 22.
Thank you.
Next one is resolution number 2024-27B, a resolution of the Board of Public Works and Safety of the City of Madison, Indiana, regarding street closings for the 2024 Madison Chautauqua. Whereas there's been a request filed by the Madison Chautauqua for street closings for said group in connection with the Madison Chautauqua to be held September 28th through 29th, 2024. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Public Works and Safety of the City of Madison, Indiana, that the following streets shall be closed beginning at 8 a.m. Friday, September 27th, 2024, until 8 p.m. Sunday, September 29th, 2024. Vine Street between Vaughn Drive and 2nd Street. Elm Street between Vaughn Drive and 2nd Street. Broadway between Vaughn Drive and 2nd Street. First Street between Mill Street and Vine Street, open to residents but closed to traffic. First Street between Elm Street and Poplar. Vaughn Drive between Mill Street and West Street. The parking spaces along Vaughn Drive between Mill Street and Plum Street shall be closed only for parking purposes for the Madison Chautauqua. Vaughn Drive between West Street and Jefferson Street shall be closed except for exhibitor parking only, but open to through traffic during the event. West Street between First Street and Vaughn Drive shall be closed for exhibitor parking only, but open to through traffic during the event. Poplar Street between First Street and Vaughn Drive. Central Avenue between First Street and Vaughn Drive, open to residents but closed off for traffic. Parking spaces along the north edge of Bicentennial Park shall be closed only for parking purposes for the Madison Chautauqua. Mill Street between First Street and Vaughn Drive shall remain open for through traffic and no parking. And be it further resolved by the Board of Public Works and Safety of the City of Madison, Indiana, there will be no parking on the corner of Broadway at First Street from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Thursday, September 26, 2024, to allow for tent setup. And be it further resolved by the Board of Public Works and Safety of the City of Madison, Indiana, that the gates on Poplar Street and Central Avenue shall be closed at 8 a.m. on Thursday, September 26, to allow for placement of dumpsters, and that all of this is under the supervision and control of the Madison Chautauqua with the times noted above for the year 2024.
Welcome back. Can you believe another year's already passed?
It's going quickly.
Kara, thanks for being here today, and we're going to go through the footprint here in a second, but since he just read the resolution, I'll just confirm the same conversation we had with Jim and Aaron, the fencing on Poplar and Central is gonna be, it's gonna leave the walkway to, Legacy Park open, is that correct?
Yeah, the verbiage I had left because, I didn't realize the gates were gonna be removed at this point, so we'll probably need concrete barricades or fencing, however the city deems to.
Okay,
And really, the location of that is flexible wherever it needs to be to allow, sidewalk access.
just south of the sidewalk so that
We
it's
put
free.
dumpsters on Poplar, as long as we can fit 2 dumpsters on Poplar, at the base of Poplar, we're good.
Still be able to do that. Okay.
How are you gonna make sure that only the residents on Central Avenue park there? How, are you going to man that at the corner?
We never have on Central, previously. We usually put a barricade up there saying, do not enter the festival footprint, sending people north. Poplar or Central, I'm not sure which one, they can go up north to hit Main Street again. And we have barricades that we put there, and we can put some signage there that says
You
resident
normally have an
parking.
attendant, do you have an attendant there, or is that
Not that
River,
far
I'm
down
thinking
on First
Riverfest,
Street.
okay.
So just a sign then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, and the big change that we're all happy about, maybe not you, but thank you for working with us.
Yeah.
Is Second Street will remain open for through traffic, and that will be a goal to help alleviate the pressure on Main Street that normally occurs because of that. So now what we're looking at is a footprint that's all south of Second Street,
Exactly.
right? Perfect, so thank you for doing that, you and your committee. I have just a couple of questions too.
Okay.
And that is, on number 6 in the resolution, it says Vaughn Drive between Mill and West Street. Is it, I'm assuming it's the west side of West and the east side of Mill? Because where the gates are gonna be, so you can,
Yes.
you can
Yes,
still come
exactly.
down and go this way basically with it, right?
Exactly, yes.
And, have we done this before, number 7, where it says the parking spaces along Vaughn Drive between Mill and Plum, that's reserved for Chautauqua, or has that just been open parking in the past?
There are 8 or 9 parking spaces
Yeah.
right there, and we've always used those for handicap.
I think that's always been in there.
Yeah, it's been there
Okay.
since I've been on the committee, so. at
It just
least
didn't say,
6
and it didn't say handicap, so that's why it makes
Yeah.
sense that it is handicap?
Yeah, we reserve
Okay.
that for handicap.
Okay, and, do we also, again, I'm asking, the Vaughn, number 8, the Vaughn Drive between West Street and Jefferson Street should be closed for exhibitor parking. So now we're going east of the footprint. Has that been marked off before as exhibitor
We've
parking?
had it in our street closure, and we've reserved the right to keep it if we need it for exhibitor parking. Up until this point, we haven't needed to. And what we usually do is we put out signage that says no parking, exhibitor only, and if we find out that we've got plenty of parking for our exhibitors, we pull all that signage and we open up that parking, so it's free, open for anyone to park.
I thought a lot of the exhibitors park down at the lot there at Mill and Vaughn.
We have,
Footprint there.
grassy lots, at the south of VMI, we use that, and then we use the main parking lot there between Central and Poplar. That'll be for the artist trailers, because if we anticipate having about 200 artists, every booth will have at least one personal vehicle. A lot of times, they'll pull a U-Haul trailer full of their merchandise that they're gonna sell, and some of those even have a secondary car, someone that's helping them for the weekend. So we have to try to find parking spaces for about 300 cars, close
Okay.
to the footprint.
Okay.
Up to this point, we haven't had any issues, and I don't anticipate having any issues to have to go down West Street, but we
Okay.
just like that overage.
All right, and did I see in here? Okay, First Street between Elm and Poplar, okay. Number 13, Mill Street between First Street and Vaughn Drive shall remain open for through traffic and no parking. I think that worked really well last year. Chief is here, so that's an area that needs to be, really enforced because prior years it's been blocked. But it still seems like we need to, last year what worked was we accommodated pickup and drop off at the Lanthier. And then across the street in the parking lot behind the VMI and Historical Society, there was some spaces left open there. Do you know if that's been accommodated for this year?
We absolutely, that parking lot we use, for artist parking as well. And what we did last year, I believe it was 4 or 5 parking spaces we gave to Lamthier and gave them a parking pass so they could come in and park right there across the street. So we're happy to do that again.
So I think with pick up and drop off and a few spots right across, some of their volunteers can park there, and I think that
Absolutely.
meshed really well, and it kept Mill Street open, which is a very narrow street that, we need that for, emergency access as
Mayor,
well as
yeah.
vehicles.
Yeah, I'd like to comment on the Mill Street. I've noticed the last few years, well, really paid closer attention the last few years. Cars parking along the fence to the dog park on Mill Street. To me, that seems to be a problem. And then from the south entrance of Lanier Winery to Vaughn Drive, there's been a rope, I guess, put up on the east side of Mill Street with no parking signs, but they're placed so far off of the road that cars are ignoring the signs and parking there.
I thought
And
last year it worked pretty well.
It makes it pretty narrow to get, I mean, especially
Yeah.
for an emergency vehicle, from the dog park down to Vaughn Drive to get through there.
I
And,
believe,
mean,
did last year,
I've walked through there and I've even
Last
taken
fencing.
pictures of it.
did we have
so-
fencing last year down there to help when we hung no parking?
We had the no parking. I think it worked pretty well last year,
I think
because I
the-
worked that corner for
The
parking a
no
lot.
parking signs on that area, I believe were from the city
Yeah, and
provided,
you're right,
which-
that in past years, that's been a real problem, and it bottlenecks right there, and of course, some of their other, trucks and stuff parked there, but last year, I believe, we did a really good job keeping the street open. Lanthier did a good job, keeping people out of that area. Police did a good job of enforcing it, so, hopefully we have another year. This year, like last year, it should be fine, particularly with the designated parking across the street and the pull-up and pick up and drop-off worked pretty well. So we'll monitor that closely. Any other questions on the footprint for Chautauqua?
I don't,
What year is this?
53rd.
Wow.
I missed the first few.
I was gonna say, this event is older than you,
Yes.
quite a bit, probably. Any other questions?
I
comments?
don't have a question on the
Yeah.
footprint. I'm okay with,
Yeah.
and I think it's great that everything's been moved south of Second Street. I guess I've just got a request
Okay.
from the Chautauqua Committee. Parking downtown, I mean, it's a huge event. I live downtown. I observe the traffic, have to put up with the traffic, but that's no problem. But to me, an event of this size, and I don't know whose responsibility it is. Some say it's the city's responsibility. I kind of take objection with that since it's not the city's event. I kind of look upon as this is part of the Chautauqua Committee's area of responsibility to find parking, to identify more parking, open parking downtown. I think it's great that you have the shuttle from the high school.
You'll do that again this year, won't you?
Seems,
We have the shuttle again
Yeah.
this year, and this year we've added a third bus to run during Saturday, the busy hours, so people don't have to wait in line as long. So we're definitely gonna encourage people to use the high school parking lot. In the past, we've explored partnering with the old hospital's parking garage and trying to run a shuttle. We found people just didn't take advantage of it. I mean, obviously, with advertising, we could probably try to increase, patronage of that, but we've tried a few different avenues too. We've ran a downtown shuttle encouraging people we had drivers driving around with like 2 people in it. No one really, people wanna kinda mill about downtown and they
Right.
kinda wanna park where they wanna park, so, we can encourage them to park at the high school and we can help advertise any lots that we know that are available. If we have a listing of parking lots that, you know, we could advertise on social media, that we could definitely do that.
Yeah, I'm really not sure how effective the shuttle would be downtown, you know, but my concern is just identifying more spaces like the one down here at West Street, along the creek between Mulberry and West Street, the old hospital parking garage.
Directional signing
Yes.
would help. Because sometimes it feels like they're coming into the venue and don't know where to go. So they're dispersing in some of the more dense areas, or it's creating an issue because it's so dense. And I think you have some directional signing planned up on 421 and probably west of town, but it's the directional signing always seems to be an issue. And we'll work those things out with the chief and the street department when we get closer to the event.
Maybe east
Yeah.
east end of Vaughn Drive, up around the bridge, up in that area.
We did, last year, we pulled out some old signage that we hadn't used in a few years, and we put the street department worked with us and did a great job of placing signage around saying that we're from Broadway to Vine. What we're finding is, if you're not local, you have no idea what Broadway to Vine is. So maybe it might be more effective to have some signage that says 3 blocks this way, festival starts 3 blocks this way, you know, and something, so we can look into that kind of signage that we can add to.
But to me, that seems like one of the biggest problems.
It's a good problem to have. Is
Do you know,
parking,
do you
but-
know
We're just limited, so.
if the lots down there off of, between Poplar and, Vernon Streets, those two lots, behind Canada's and behind, the lumber mill and teak mall, are they gonna be open and available? I mean, that's a great parking spot and opportunity for, someone to,
I believe, I don't know if it's pay to park, I think, but I don't know who controls that. I could reach out to the Canadas and see if
does
they,
Bob Green-
it's obviously there.
The Heritage Trail, they
Yeah.
do that parking.
I don't know if they do the parking there, but there's lots of, if the weather's good, there's lots of kind of parking right there on the edge of the footprint if it's advertised and open.
I know that Lydia Middleton also, their PTO does parking in their parking lot, but those are all paid at park.
Right.
You know, we could partner with them, offer to
I
advertise
think,
it on there.
Board Member Carlos points a good one, which is to, think of those organizations that you can partner with to create some designated parking close to the footprint, and then just have good directional signage so that, everybody doesn't come into the same spot wondering where should they park, where should they go to get to the venue. Cause it is a high-density traffic issue for those,
Trying to find the
2
kind
days.
of signage that would be visible too is gonna be, a challenge, cause if the sidewalks are really full, any of the signage that we would put out would be sidewalk signs, and so we're gonna have to look and see what other options we have there.
well, I think that would be a compliment to the change in the footprint, and you're expecting a good turnout with regard to artists who are coming.
So far, we're tracking
Fantastic.
along, yeah.
Well, all those things, I know we still have multiple conversations to have between now and the venue with fire, police, and streets department. So those are a couple things that I think are good to point out. With that in mind, I'll make a motion, we approve resolution 2024-27B.
I'll second your motion.
Any comments or discussion, questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nope. Thank you, and congratulations on your 53rd year.
Thank you.
Hope for good weather.
Yes. All right, moving on, we have one more resolution.
And this is Resolution 2024-28B, a resolution of the Board of Public Works and Safety of the City of Madison, Indiana regarding a street closing for the Ohio Theater marquee ribbon cutting. Whereas there's been a request filed by Tony Steinhardt on behalf of the City of Madison for street closing in connection with the Ohio Theater marquee ribbon cutting to be held on Friday, June 28th, 2024. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Public Works and Safety of the City of Madison, Indiana, that Main Street between West Street and Mulberry Street shall be closed from 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. on Friday, June the 28th, 2024. Be it further resolved by the Board of Public Works and Safety of the City of Madison, Indiana, that said street as closed shall be in the supervision and control of the City of Madison, Indiana.
Good afternoon, Emily.
Hi.
Tell us a little bit about what this is and what we're trying to accomplish here.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a street party for the marquee lighting and the official ribbon cutting for the Ohio Theater. And so we're asking for the street to be closed from 4 to 11 p.m. from West Street to Mulberry Street, with the official party being from 7 to 10, to kind of commemorate our collaboration with the Friends of the Ohio Theater and the marquee lighting and the official ribbon cutting. We will have we're working with the fire department to use fire trucks to block the street, so we don't have to worry the street department and their workers for overtime.
It's been a long time since the marquee's been lit up, and I know we're doing a facade restoration now, and it's closing in on the marquee part of it, so it's gonna be great. As we talked about earlier, that Main Street's a really, really busy street, and this is gonna be on a Friday night, so we're gonna have some traffic to have to detour around, to get to 421, or around to, go up north or east. It seems like a long window for that, and maybe the way we look at this is we continue to refine the event when it needs to be closed. We can have maybe the Board of Public Works approve that range, but working with the Friends of Ohio and City of Madison and the police and streets, we can figure out exactly what the time frame needs to be.
Absolutely.
It's a major preservation project that's been a long time in the making, so we're happy to celebrate that. Board, do you have any questions for Emily?
That evening, will the theater be open? People walk in, around, kind of look around?
I believe so. I think we're still working with them to kind of iron out some of those details, but yes, I think it's meant to be a big kind of community open house street party for everybody to kind of come together and celebrate this big icon kind of being back up and running for Madison.
So with that, I make a motion, we approve resolutions 2024-28B.
I'll second that. Any discussion? Comments or questions? What was the first movie, Carl, that you saw at the Ohio Theater?
American Graffiti, and you never show it again down here.
Dang
in
it.
Ohio.
Hey, it was on last night. It was on TV last
I know.
night. It was awesome.
Always fails, we need it down the river one night.
They
One night for the car show.
they wrote that movie about Carl
It was
and his hot rod.
That's right. Yeah,
It's fantastic.
I was the guy in 55.
Ron Howard portrayed him in the movie.
You learn something
I
new every
know,
day.
I'm a lot prettier than Ron Howard. Like, give me a break. More hair than him, too.
Oh. Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Emily, thank you.
Thank you.
So what is the harassment law for employees? What is
Sure.
that doing? Drop me a copy.
All right, from the preservation of the Ohio Theater to the preservation of Madison. Let's turn to Nicole Shell. We'll talk stormwater first.
I have two contracts for approval, both asking to authorize the mayor to sign. The first one is an amendment to our stormwater ordinance update contract. It's just a date extension. Originally, we had the work being completed by April. However, there's been some changes at the state level and some more guidance, so we're asking for the extension of this contract to be to October 2024.
The first one is October 2024. I was trying to
Yes.
find that in the
It is in the, right under the schedule extension, that first line. And that contract's dated May 1st, or that letter is.
Oh, the May 1st one, excuse me,
Yes.
okay. Maybe describe to those watching what this is gonna do.
Yeah, so we are under mandate from the federal government to have a regulated MS4 program, And with that, the state has required us to make updates to our ordinance to be more in compliance with their state level program. And so that's what we're doing. We hired OHM to help us through that process through a RFP proposal back last year.
Right, and Jefferson County, I should say, City of Madison's a member of the Southern Indiana Stormwater Advisory Committee, SWAC, and
Yes.
OHM is working in that as well.
Correct.
I'll move that is this just the one
I
continuation
have
we're talking about?
yeah, I have
Okay.
two.
Let's do the second one at the same
Okay.
time.
The second one is a letter dated March 13th.
Yep.
It is our continuing professional services with OHM to be a part of that SWAC organization that you mentioned. And so it's just a continuation of their original contract from 2021.
Okay. And again, there's one of the bigger issues that remains unsolved because it's very complicated and expensive is stormwater management across the city. So we are required to update our ordinances. We'll be evaluating our development standards. We are already also working on Crooked Creek flood mitigation and that data. And to do that, we need the engineering services of OHM, and then on another side of it, we're using Commonwealth's engineering services for the Crooked Creek mitigation, so.
Correct.
I'll move that we approve both of the extensions for the professional services agreements with OHM.
Second motion.
Any questions? Comments? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. All right, on to preservation.
Yes, PACE. I have one additional application from the last round for you. This one is for 423 Mill Street, a rehabilitation grant at that location to close out that amount of funds that we have available for that program. So the grant amount is $2,813.19. The owner has agreed to continue with the work that he applied for, which includes siding, windows, front porch repair, and the removal of a rear non-historic porch enclosure.
And this is under the rehabilitation grant
Yes.
program, which we've basically exhausted the funding for that.
Correct. This was the remaining amount, so the PACE committee asked me to offer the remaining amount to the applicant's highest score to lowest, and he was the first one offered and accepted.
And the siding will be what kind?
I believe he's gonna try to restore the wood siding. If not, it will be LP, but I believe the application is for restore.
And that's at the corner of Mill and Third Street, if you, right diagonal to John Paul Park. Great.
I make a motion to approve the PACE application for 423 Mill Street.
I'll second that. Any discussion, comments, or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks.
I have two completion date extensions for you. The first for Cornerstone Society at 707 Walnut Street. They're asking for an additional four months. This is in addition to the approved 6 months that you previously gave them. Their new deadline would be October 17th, 2024.
I have a question for you.
Is work continuing on this right now?
It's temporarily paused until they get the Second Street project done, but if you have additional questions, link is here.
Yeah. Well, we don't have anything in our packet on that, right?
It's just the extension
Just
letter.
that, okay.
Yeah.
I'm fine with this. I mean, the work on the Second Street property looks fantastic, on the exterior. And I know that's taken a lot of, resources and attention, and this property's been inspected. It's safe, it's stable.
And I will just note, this is an old photo. Didn't have
Yes,
a current one,
right.
so.
Right. Right. No,
We're gonna do that with the Broadway.
I can do both at the
Yep,
same
let's do
time
that.
if you'd like. The second extension, Julie Brown at 623 Broadway is asking for an additional 12 months on this dilapidated structure grant, that her new deadline would be June 5th, 2025. She doesn't believe that she's gonna need that entire time, but just in case unforeseen issues arise, cause she's basically, stabilized and rebuilding that property from the ground up.
Well, do we have a construction schedule that shows benchmarks along the way? You know, I'm always hesitant to do a 12-month extension because we get to the 12-month and we really hadn't documented what we expected by then, and not a whole lot had progressed. And I think the precedent we've established is to go slower, even though 12 months is the max, go slower, and then have a pretty good understanding of what we're expecting. If we did a 6-month extension, for example, what is the you know, the timeline? I take the fact that this is basically a whole new construction, but I'm a little hesitant to do a full year. I think, again, what we've done before is shorten it up to maybe 4 to 6 months, and then see what their progress is during that time frame.
I think Gilly would be receptive to a 6-month.
I don't see why not.
She's done great work and has invested in our community. Appreciate it, and I know this is harder. And we've also talked about, you know, the PACE program requirements for reconstruction rather than rehabilitation, and we need to address those too.
Then I'll make a motion, we approve 6 months extension at 707 Walnut and 623 Broadway.
707's request is for 4 months.
Yep.
I'm sorry, 4
Yep.
months, and then 6 months for the 623 Broadway, sorry.
I'll second Carl's motion.
Any discussion, comments, or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
Two
It's gonna look
finals.
like a brand new house when it's done.
Yeah, two finals for you. The first is 1205 West Main Street. This dilapidated structure received a whole lot of work. They basically demoed the interior, repaired the foundation, floor joists, exterior walls, and installed new LP smart siding and gutters. You can see it there. It is 100% stable. They're continuing the work on the inside. However, they've completed their PACE grant according to their grant agreement and are asking for the full disbursement of $25,000.
I really appreciate the work on this. It's a highly visible location. I'm not sure many people understand just how bad a shape many of these neglected homes are when an investor acquires them and starts doing the work. I mean, it's a major investment that we see all throughout our community to not only rehabilitate, restore, but replace. I mean, we've essentially stopped dozens of homes from essentially being demolished through neglect and deterioration.
This one in particular, because the aluminum or vinyl siding really covered a lot of the structural issues.
That's great. I'll move that we approve the, you have one other one?
Yeah.
We'll do it together, okay?
And then the final disbursement request is for 1902 Strader Street on our hilltop. Our second dilapidated structure grant up there worked on this property, including floor joists, roofs, interior framing, and new windows. They actually also restored that front larger window. And it looks great. If you haven't been up there, I definitely recommend taking a drive by there. But they're asking for the full disbursement of $20,175.
Wow. And Strader it's not in the Pinehurst neighborhood.
It is.
Oh, it
Yep,
is, okay.
it's one of the offshoots off of Pinehurst.
So that's a targeted revitalization area for us as well.
Correct, yes.
And as we were talking about the rehabilitation funds being fully committed, we still have money available for dilapidated or unsafe structures in the targeted revitalization areas. Is
We
that
have
correct?
money
Two.
available for the dilapidated structures and dangerous buildings grants in the entire city limits.
Oh, entire city.
Yep,
okay.
and then the rehabilitation grant and the curb appeal grant in the target areas.
And the two are the Walnut Street and the Pinehurst neighborhoods, is that correct? Okay. Investments put to good use.
Make a motion, we approve the finals at 1205 West Main and 1902 Strader.
I'll second that. Any discussion, comments, or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to invite Chief Scudder up for an update to the Board of Public Works. Chief, thanks for so patiently sitting through the whole agenda.
That's what I'm here for. What do you want to hear about first?
Well, I think there were a few things on your agenda. Maybe talk about stats, staffing, street traffic calming, maybe in that order.
Have you guys gotten a copy of our stats for
You
May?
know what? I don't think I shared it with them, so you'll be going over it.
Oh boy, there's a lot of categories.
Well, you don't have to go over all the categories, obviously. I'll get them a copy. after the
We
meeting.
responded to a total of 1,398 calls for service in May. It might have been a little higher than that because we actually pulled those stats early on Friday. So the biggest uptick that we saw was in security checks. That's something I've been encouraging the officers to do. And the main objective behind that is to just get them out into neighborhoods. Actually, Debbie came up to me prior to the meeting and said she's seen a lot more officers on Walnut Street, and that's my objective behind encouraging security checks. And those also count for like the Comfort Station, Fireman's Park, where we've had a lot of homeless issues. So they stop in and check on those, make sure they're not violating any city ordinances or anything.
And year-to-date, the calls have been almost 6,100
Yes.
responses
Yep.
year-to-date.
So we're a little higher in May than normal, but that's pretty common with the warmer weather coming in. So those numbers will probably continue to climb until October, November, and they'll start dying off again. So that's stats. Staffing, we've got one officer at the academy right now. We've got conditional offers to 3 others, and we're just waiting on them being accepted into the retirement fund, and then we can get them start dates. 2 of those 3 are already academy certified officers coming from other agencies, so we can get them rolled out pretty quick.
Will you be fully staffed at that point?
No, we still got 2 openings.
2 more open?
Yeah, we've got the hiring process open, or we're still accepting applications. We're just waiting until we build a decent sized pool. We'll start an hiring process, and then hopefully we can fill those 2 spots and then create a hiring pool. So if somebody else leaves, we can so we're not doing this again in 6 months. We can just take.
You say you had one at the academy now?
We have 1 at the police academy, yeah.
And you're still using some retired officers for traffic control?
Yeah, Dan Steffen's still working West Main heavy. I don't think he's down, I think he's off today, but
Yeah, I didn't see him down there this morning, so.
yeah, I think he took off. I don't know. He may have went to Florida. I don't know.
That's a good job.
Traffic calming, this is the proposed plan for East Main. You guys have a copy of that?
Yes.
So the main goal behind this is to slow traffic on East Main Street. The issues are as soon as people hit Jefferson Street, whether they're turning off Jefferson or coming eastbound from Main Street, is they speed up in the left lane to try to pass traffic and get ahead of them prior to it bottling down to 1 lane approaching the bridge.
Yeah, so on that, you see the 4-step plan. We had the public meeting, I don't know if you mentioned that, back in September, that outlined the concerns that had been expressed by the community, our approach to it. We've accomplished really the first 3 steps there, which is better enforcement, a lot of tree clearing to make sure that our signage was visible, and then the crosswalk markers and the crosswalk. So now we're moving forward with regard to the traffic calming piece of it.
Yes. So as you can see, the project actually starts back in this block, between Mulberry and Jefferson. It'll go to the eastbound traffic will go down to 1 lane, and then at Jefferson, it'll be 1 lane each direction with a center turn lane.
This is largely identical to the other slide that's over there, which is the proposed traffic pattern.
Yes.
And we'll have one more public meeting before bringing this to Board of Public Works for final approval. And then after that, we can decide what the implementation of it looks like.
So I think we'll accomplish two things. We'll be slowing traffic down, for the pedestrians on Main Street, and also the people coming off of Walnut and East Street trying to get onto Main Street. It's, pretty tough sometimes. Then also it'll be shortening the crosswalks. We've had a lot of pedestrians struck trying to cross Main Street at these intersections. So with just one lane and everybody coming in that one lane, they won't be in that area very long, the pedestrians, if that makes sense what I'm trying to say, so.
Yeah, and then we'll take some of the tactics we're doing on the east end, and we still need to do more on the west end, because even though we've, a few years ago did the traffic calming, when you get to first of all, the crosswalks are still very unsafe just because of the speed at which the cars are traveling, and there's no signage in the crosswalk. It's on the sides of the road, and the visibility of that is, really dependent upon the awareness of the driver.
Right.
And then on the west end continues to be a problem with a lot of, speeding coming in and out of town. So we have, Chief and I are talking about, east end of Maine, the west end of Maine. Bond Drive we have growing issues on Bond Drive that have to be addressed. And there's all these things that we can do to abate the speeding, but we're gonna have to use tactics like this. So today was really just to kind of inform the board that we'll be coming back in a few weeks to go over this in more detail for a resolution to approve the new traffic pattern.
Any questions on that? You guys have any questions on that? Nope. And aside from the community watch program we're working on, I think that's about all we've got. We hope to have that rolled out by mid-July. We'll start hosting meetings for community watch throughout the city. We've got it divided up into neighborhoods, and we're gonna, like I said, we'll host the initial meetings and appoint somebody in that neighborhood to kind of lead their community, and they'll communicate directly with myself.
Yeah, this type of program really relies on a lot of engagement from the neighborhood.
It does.
Because they're our eyes and ears, and we've seen it work pretty well when they're engaged. So that's what we're asking for, is just to roll that out a little bit more formally. Chief, did you talk about the staff, the shifts already?
I talked about staffing. I didn't go into shifts.
Okay.
We're gonna go back to an 8-hour shift. We're currently working 12-hour shifts. I think that's gonna help us put more officers on the street at one time. When I took over, we were at a 3-officer minimum. We've already taken that to 4, and it's a little bit of a strain with these 12-hour shifts, especially when we get somebody that calls in sick. So we're gonna go to 8s, and I think that'll help alleviate some of the pressure on the guys.
So we're doing a lot. If you recall the stats, 6,000 plus calls year to date, the first 5 months. We just need to make sure we've got enough resources per shift to properly handle all of our goals that we want to accomplish, and then also make it safe for the community and the officers too.
Seems like a lot of shoplifting calls. Is that primarily here at Hilltop, or?
That is primarily at one of our biggest retailers on the Hilltop.
Yeah.
Probably be Walmart.
It's been an issue, and we've met with them, and we're trying to come up with some processes that will alleviate or stop us from having to respond to every call up there. So we're working with Walmart and the prosecutor's office to come up with a plan where we're not up there near as much.
Because I know sometimes maybe shoplifting is just a mistake of someone on self-check. And next thing you know, it's a big issue, and you guys are up there, and
Right.
just an issue of, I've put stuff in the bag and had to take it back out because I didn't hear the beep, or.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of that seems to be a common call that we go up there for. So yeah, we're trying to, like I said, get some processes in place to where the Walmart can communicate directly with the prosecutors and take us out of the loop, so we can focus our attention where it's needed more. So we should have that lined out here in the next couple weeks.
You walk out with a big TV, or you have a piece.
Yeah, that's a different story.
You know,
but-
a package of hamburger underneath a bag and get, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I've heard some stories about it.
Yep.
Chief, on your total call sheet, I noticed under traffic stops, there was a significant decrease.
Yeah, I don't know. I glanced over these when I sent them to the mayor the other day, and I was looking at that closer this morning and noticed that, and I don't know why the sudden decrease is there. I think some of the higher months can be attributed to officers working Operation Pullover, which is a grant. And I don't think they were working OPO this month. I don't know if that was an error. So I'm gonna check into that when I get back. That number should be significantly higher. And if it is, I will let you know, but I don't think that's accurate.
Okay.
Good report.
Chief, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Any other last questions for Chief? All right,
Thank you.
Thank you.
hearing none, I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. Just a couple updates from me, which is, you've been up on Michigan Road, you've seen it paved and striped. We're continuing our pretty significant, local road and streets program. Right now, I believe they're in Sunrise. There's work being done on Clifty Drive. Frank's Drive's been paved. And, I believe our new street signs at the intersection of Crestwood and Michigan are installed. So
Yes, I saw
it's
that.
kind of a new format we're using. It was a new street, so check that out. And then lastly, I'll just mention too that our transfer station modernization plan is underway. Our equipment and containers are in process, and we'll be rolling out soon an informational piece to the community called Select My Cart. And so that will be the venue or the medium in which we'll ask those customers of our household trash recycling programs to select the size of their container. And then if no size is selected, a 64-gallon container will be the
Standard.
the standard. So that'll be a major logistical challenge for us, but all underway. It's probably gonna take another 3 or 4 months to implement the program. That is it for me. I'll turn it over. Anybody here wishing to address Board of Public Works, come to the podium and state your name and address and make your statement, please. And if not, I'll, Board, any final remarks from you?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Our next meeting is Monday, June 17th. I'll second Carl's motion. And
But
before we do
before
that,
we vote,
before we go,
yeah, we had a big event happen last week. Pool opening.
that's right. Yeah.
Didn't know if you'd want to address that or,
Yeah, we had the ribbon cutting, which was unforgettable, very well attended. And then once the bad weather kind of rolled out of town and the warm weather came in, everybody that I could tell, and myself included, was enjoying Crystal Beach. So I would recommend everyone coming to the pool, bringing your families, experimenting with the slides or the lazy river, new food, new menu at the concession stand. It's all great. A lot of hard work went into that, and I appreciate everybody who was involved.
great.
So more to come. As we talked earlier, we'll have the ribbon cutting for the Ohio Theater. By the end of July, we'll have the ribbon cutting for the new grocery store. But a lot of work happening downtown and on the hilltop. Really proud of all the effort by our city teams.
I noticed your pictures in the paper. Evidently, they didn't realize I was there, but that's okay.
Yes, apparently not. We'll make sure you get your photo op next time, Carl.
All right, I'll be there.
Bob?
June the 17th will be the next meeting. We do have city council meeting tomorrow night. We'll have a couple of things on the agenda. But a lot of great things happen over the course of the summer. Thanks, everybody, for being here. We didn't vote yet. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.